this short tutorial on the introduction and basics to the LMS or Learning Management System, Schoology. If you're unfamiliar with what a learning management system is, a learning management system is an application that allows you to deliver electronic educational technology, or otherwise known as e-learning, to students. This could be in the form of assignments or materials, videos, or other electronic training and educational content. So the first thing we need to do is create our Schoology account. So the first thing you want to do is navigate in a browser to www.schoology.com. Some people say Schoology, some people say Schoology. I think either one is acceptable, but right here they pronounce it Schoology. Up at the top, you will see a login and a sign up button. You're going to go ahead and click that sign up button, and that's going to open up this menu. Now, this is where your students will also access their courses, and this is where parents can access courses as well. But we're instructor, so I'm going to go ahead and click instructor. And then there's going to be a place to fill out some information. So you'll need a first, last name, your email address, and you'll need to create a password. Okay, now that we've created our Schoology account and logged in, we need to go ahead and create our classes. The easiest way to do this is up at the top, there will be a courses button. If you click that, and you can see I already have some courses in mine, there is a create button. Now when your students actually join Schoology, they can join additional courses here, or you can join courses for other teachers here as well. We would hit the create button. What would happen then is it pops up with a menu. There is a place for the course name, and let's just say we're teaching English 101. The section could be if you are teaching multiple sections of this or multiple periods. Let's say I teach English 101 in period 1 and 2, and then I will need to go ahead and choose a subject and a level. And so I teach high school. I'm going to go ahead and do 10 through 12, and you can set that to however you want, and then I would hit create. Okay, now that I've created my course in Schoology, how do I add students to this course? Well, the easiest way is to actually have the students add themselves. On the left of when you're in your course, there is a green box with an access code. This access code you can print out, or you can show on the projector to students and allow them to add themselves to the course. Now this access code is not case sensitive, and it does not require the dash. So what you would do is give this to your students, and then you would have them navigate to Schoology.com. They would click sign up just like you did, unless they already have an account. They would choose student, and then here they would put in their access code. Once they put in the access code, they would be asked to create an account with a username and password. Okay, so now that I have students in my course, I'm ready to start adding assignments. But first, I need to make sure my gradebook is set up correctly. So on the left, you notice there's some navigation, some updates, gradebook, badges, attendance, members, and analytics. And I'm not going to go over these in too much detail, but to get to gradebook, of course, we'll click this link here that says gradebook. Now I don't have any assignments in here yet, so there's no grades, but I do have grades set up, and that's why I want to click to set up my gradebook. So in grade setup, I can add categories for grades. I can set grading periods and final weights. If in case you're divided up by semester or 6 weeks, this is a good place to add that. I can add categories such as tests or daily work or participation. I can change the scale from a numeric to A plus or minus. I can do calculated grades here. I can do some other interesting things, but here the main thing is setting up your grading periods and your final weights to align with what you are gradebook will look like. Okay, now that I have my courses created, my students added, and my gradebook set up, I can now add assignments to my course. To add assignments, you want to click on the materials selection on the left, and here brings up these options. Add materials will bring up an option to add many different types of assignments. You can add an assignment, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. You can add a test or quiz, will allow you to add multiple choice and short answer tests, which will have the option to auto grade. You can add a file, link, or an external tool in case of materials. You can add a discussion, which we'll talk about here today too. You can add a media album, a page, a package. There's some other different things you can add. And you can add a folder to organize this if you'd like. But what I'm going to show you today is assignments and discussions. So let's look at assignments first. So if you click add assignment, it's going to allow you to add an assignment here. You would type in a name, which I'm going to do test assignment here. 1. You would put the description, and this does accommodate HTML and embedded items. You can add links, you can add different formatting. You can also insert content here, such as images or symbols, equations for your math folks. You can also insert files if you'd like to upload a PDF. And down here, that's where you would do that. Click File, and then you would open up some files. You can also add files from your resource folder if you have a folder that you've created. And then everything will show up in this area here. You can set your due date. You can set your time when you would like that turned in, the point scale, your category, which I haven't created any yet, but we could say daily work. Okay. Our scale, which is numeric, because we're doing 100 points, we could also have an A+ scale or some kind of, we could use a rubric. At the bottom, you can individually assign this to students if you have students that you want to do this individually. If you don't click that, it will assign it to the whole class. You can align learning objectives, which it does have the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills in here. You can lock this post so students will not be able to comment or do anything with it. Here is a box that will allow students to turn in assignments. So if this is a assignment that required a document submission or some kind of submission that they have to turn in, this will turn that on. This means it's published to students, so if I click that off, they won't be able to see it. But if I click that on, then it will turn that on. I'm going to skip over grade statistics, but I'm going to talk about the comments. So comments are enabled right now. You can keep that on or off. Students will be allowed to comment on the assignment. My recommendation is to keep that off unless you want to do some kind of discussion. Also, you can copy this to other courses. So if you are teaching this subject multiple times, you can click that and you can add this to different courses and set up that same different options in your courses. Now that you've added an assignment, let's also talk about adding a discussion and the difference between a discussion and an assignment. I've already added a discussion here, so let's take a look at that. So our discussion here is usually something up above, comments. It can include media, video, or images, and the students are asked to respond here. Students can also reply to replies on this topic and basically create a discussion. If you like, you can also enable grading for these discussions, so you can make sure that students are doing what they're supposed to and grade them based on feedback. Our assignments look a little different though. When students get assignments, this is what the assignment will look like. They'll have a button on the right that will allow them to submit documents or files or whatever they needed to submit. But this button will also bring up a text editor if you're just looking for an answer and you want them to submit something there. So there's lots of different ways you can receive files. These file types the submissions will accept any type of files, including Photoshop, images, or video files. So if you're doing a video class or an image class or a class that requires a stranger type or a proprietary type of file, you can have them submitted here. Now, most of the time when you're grading submissions, Schoology will upload them and show them here where you can grade them. If it's a file type that requires a program like Photoshop and PSD files, you'll have to download them to your computer and then submit the grade individually.